Hello, this is Robert Guillaume. Thank you for joining me on Your Money, Manage It. I will be discussing principles that will empower you to manage your finances made easy. Welcome. The next two episodes, we're going to discuss a topic that is actually pretty hard-hitting. It's pretty, right on. It's factual. It's data-driven. But it's going to tell it like it is. And it's called Looking Forward, the Real Picture. Let's start by examining currently in America. Many of you may be aware of these facts, but many may not be. Currently in America, as you know, we're facing some of the highest inflationary rates in decades. America also today is facing homelessness as an epidemic in this country. Currently, America, this is a real unique figure that I think Americans need to be aware of. America ranks 15th in the quality of life among Western industrialized nations. 15th. We like to tell everyone, and we speak a good game, but the reality is when it comes to our quality of life in America, we're 15th. Now, how is that measured and what's that based on? These are the factors that sort of play into that ranking. Number one, we're the most violent nation in the Western industrialized world. The most violent. And that really has nothing to do with whether you have gun control or not. We're just a violent nation. There are segments of our American society that simply perpetuate and are constantly in a scenario of violence. In some of our cities, there are pockets of those cities that violence is just an everyday common occurrence. Currently in America, we rank 29th. Well, we're the last of 29 nations in our longevity for men and women. The current number for longevity has just been released. It used to be like age 79 for men and age 80 for women. That figure for both sexes has dropped to like 76.4 years. It is extremely low, the lowest of 29 nations. Infant mortality in America ranks 33rd out of 38 OECD nations. That's horrific, ladies and gentlemen, for a nation as advanced as America to have infant mortality at a rank of 33 out of 38 nations. Healthcare in America, we speak of healthcare in America and oh, how wonderful, whatever. Well, we actually rank 11th out of all industrialized nations. 11th in healthcare. We rank 28th out of 38 OECD nations in the quality of our pre-college education. Pretty low. And we all know in America, and I said this is a hard-hitting podcast. It's telling it like it is, and it's going to lead up to some factors that we'll discuss later. But currently in America, we have enormous numbers, high numbers of families that have succumbed to divorce, separation. The number of single parents is at an all-time high in the United States. And we have an overall just a disintegration of the American family unit in this country. That is concerning. The daily stress in our lives in America This is an interesting factor, ladies and gentlemen. We speak of quality of life in America and how we rank it and so forth. Well, daily stress in our lives, in the lives of Americans, America ranks 20 points higher in daily stress in our lives than any other Western industrialized nation. 20 points higher in just daily stress in our lives. Homeless children in America. 1 out of every 30 children in America is homeless. What a just unimaginable figure. 1 out of every 30 children being homeless in America. And let's look at our American veterans that are desperately in need of care. Sadly in America, we have to have organizations that just simply reach out and plead for donations to take care of our veterans. One organization, and these are good organizations, but Wounded Warrior Project and Disabled American Veterans, they plead constantly on media for your donations. And I have to sit back, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I have to sit back and I say, here are veterans that served this country and have mental and physical needs, disabilities, are in need of help, while we pour billions into a foreign country. I just don't get it. Recently, while I was shopping in a major retail store, the checkout clerk shared with me that she had seen come through her checkout counter an elderly couple that had bought just a large amount of ramen noodles. And they told her that was all they could afford. Yet, once again, I sit back and I say, we have elderly that can't afford to buy groceries. We have homeless children, 1 out of every 30. We have disabled veterans that need care, and we pour billions of dollars into foreign countries. I am at a loss for words. The greatest quote, I quote this in quote, nation in the world can't take care of its domestic issues. We're seeing individuals who have saved, a lifetime of investments for their retirement. We see those investments, at least in the past couple of years, shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And here are people who have worked, they have paid their dues, and are facing these tough times. And all this, and we continue to stand on, how great we are. And I'm not being, a downer on America. I'm just simply stating facts. This is reality. I'm just telling it like it is. I also will tell you in one statement, and that is beware. A recent article by a gentleman named Tom Ozemick stated this, and I quote, majority of the top economists at 23 large financial institutions, they were surveyed by the Wall Street Journal, and they predict the United States will fall into a recession in 2023 and millions of jobs will be lost. Now, you're not going to find that out on the street, and you're not probably going to find that in whoever handles your investment portfolios, because that's a little scary, and people don't want to be scared. They want to, smell roses and throw flowers like in the old days at Haight-Ashbury or something. But I know that there's a reality check out here. Investment banks today, currently, and trading firms currently are also expecting a downturn in our economy, 2023, maybe into 2024. Now, the bright spot, not all are pessimistic. Some remain optimistic. but those optimists are very few and far between. So what will be the effects if our economy weakens? Number one, there'll be less spending by consumers. Number two, sadly, many individuals will have to deplete savings and checking accounts just to make ends meet. The Fed will probably once again continue to raise interest rates to try to offset the weakened economy and what's happening. Millions of Americans will face losing their jobs, and unemployment naturally will increase. Here's a factor. I just spoke of charitable institutions that provide for homeless children or disabled veterans. If we have an economy that begins to go south, charitable giving will decrease. And the reality, as I speak to you today, no one can with certainty predict accurate future. But I will share with you that the signs are there. So tighten your belts, manage your finances intelligently. We have covered all of the tools to use in podcast after podcast. But ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you, don't get complacent. Don't overspend. Be wise, be smart, manage your finances, and manage them as though you might be facing a difficult financial future. It might happen. I'm not saying it will. Don't quote me by saying he says it will. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it might, but the indicators are there. The next episode, we're going to literally discuss how these situations will affect you directly. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Money Manage It, and I look forward to speaking with you again next Monday. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for joining me on Your Money Manage It. My book, How to Manage Personal Finances Made Easy and Avoiding the College Debt Trap, can be found on Amazon and the bookshop. I will also include the link in the description of this episode. Find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and join me again next Monday. Thank you for listening.